Ohayo, konnichiwa, konbanwa. Hi everyone, welcome back to JFTN, Japan Fishing Tackle News. This time, we will share our first impressions and review of the SHIMANO Vanford 2024, a reel that many people have been curious about. Please note that this product review represents the personal opinions of the JFTN staff and is not exhaustive. We hope you take it as just one perspective among many. First, the SHIMANO Vanford originated from the Stratic Ci4 Plus, which was a lightweight version of the mid-range Stratic spinning reel. It was initially launched as part of the Quick Response series, later known as the MGL Series, and was a highly successful model worldwide. The Stratic Ci4 Plus, as the name suggests, was based on the normal Stratic from the Core Solid series, but used Ci4 Plus material for the body and rotor, making it a lightweight, responsive reel that became well-loved. In 2020, it was rebranded as the Vanford and continued to gain popularity. Now, in 2024, the model has been refreshed with new features. It carries over advanced technologies from the Vanquish, such as Infinity Cross, Infinity Drive, Duracross, and the anti-twist fin. The body remains made of Ci4 plus carbon composite, keeping it lightweight and strong while offering a more affordable option. Here are the specifications for the model I purchased this time. Now, let's take a look inside. As usual, there's the parts diagram included. Vanford is packed with only cardboard, without using any non-woven fabric. I was surprised to see the handle just placed openly. Shimano's mid to low price models tend to be simple, and the body is packed just as it is. Here's the new Vanford 2024 body. And there are proper spool adjustment washers and a spare anti-twist fin included as well. Here's a closer look at the exterior. I had seen it at after, but seeing this model again really impressed me. The design leans more towards the Stellar or Twin Power rather than the Vanquish, with an overall dark gunmetal finish. The red accents have been toned down, and it has a slightly darker color compared to the Twin Power. The MGL rotor shape is identical to the Vanquish 2023. The bail arm feels typical of Shimano, opening at a wider angle than DAIWA's and holding its position with solid strength. It feels reliable, so you won't have unexpected bail flips causing trouble. However, the automatic bail return is still stiff. You need a bit of force to fully close the bail through rotation, although it's slightly better than the Stellar or Twin Power. Drag sound. To be honest, it reflects the price point. While there is a light metallic sound, the more noticeable part is the somewhat cheap plastic-like sound. However, the volume is quite loud and resonates well. Let's try spinning it freely.
Yeah, it's quite light. It is. I can still feel like it's a bit of like a graze inside and it's not perfect at the moment, but it still feels light. This is not actually light as the one I tried on the AFTA, but yeah, it's quite light.
I have to admit, I'm not very good at speaking on camera, and since I don't have a lapel mic, please bear with me as I'll continue using voiceovers for the time being. It's really light, so I thought it might be able to keep up with the Vanquish.
It's different. It is.
But after trying it, the Vanquish is still in a league of its own. The overall quality is on a completely different level. By the way, this spool has a somewhat unique water drainage shape. It's similar to the design that received mixed reviews with the Twin Power 2024 and is used extensively here. The handle knob feels a little stiff. It's supposed to have 2 ball bearings, but it doesn't spin as smoothly as expected. Could it be that the grease used for saltwater hasn't settled in properly? For this review, I selected the VARIVAS line, specifically the AVANI Seabass Max Power P EX9 in PE 0.8, 150 meters. This high-quality braided line features a 9-strand construction with a strong core, offering high strength and a smooth surface. Now, let's take it outside and put it to use. I've made it outdoors now, and I've paired the Shimano Vanford 2024 with the Shimano Cephia BBS 80ml, just like I did with the Luvias 2024. Since both follow a similar color scheme, they match well. Honestly, I find the Vanford's design really appealing, maybe even more so than the Vanquish. I'm sorry, but I haven't caught any fish yet with the Vanford. I considered waiting to release the review until I caught something, but I decided to prioritize sharing my impressions of how it feels to use. So, I'm releasing this usage review first. Thank you for your understanding. For consistency, I've selected the same lure as with the Luvias, the Jackson Athlete S7, a 70mm, 7 grams sinking minnow. Despite being an older model, it's still highly effective at attracting fish. Now, for the first cast. Yeah, it feels like a typical Shimano cast. Smooth line release with a nice, effortless feeling. However, it doesn't seem like it's casting any farther than the Luvias. Wait, what's this? I hear some rotational noise. It sounds like a scraping kind of noise, and the reel feels heavier compared to when I spun it freely before. I wonder what's causing it.
It's really noisy.
Can you hear this sound? There's a scraping noise. I'll try switching out a few different lures now. It definitely feels heavy. However, I think the reel itself is sensitive, which makes this grinding noise even more noticeable. The Luvias I tested didn't have any of this noise, so it bothers me even more. The noise only comes out when there's a certain amount of load. Otherwise, it's not that noticeable. I mostly feel it when retrieving lipped minnows or vibration lures. I also notice it a bit during eating, but it's not too bothersome. It might be because I'm deliberately using the drag as well.
I try to do it again to see if the noise is becoming better or not.
After trying various setups, I'm switching back to the Athlete once more. It's still concerning.
Noise is still there. Slightly better, but yeah, still there.
As mentioned in the video, the issue has improved somewhat. However, there is still some noise under certain loads. It's curious that this doesn't occur with lighter loads and seems particularly noticeable when using the Athlete. During this review, I realized that since the noise only occurs under load and not during free spooling, it might be an issue with the bearing in the line roller. So, for now, I'll head back home and disassemble the line roller to clean and grease the bearing. When I opened it, it looked like this. The bearing appears somewhat whitish. Could it be dirt or grease? I'll clean it up and reapply grease. When reassembling the line roller, pay attention to these two protrusions. Make sure that these protrusions fit properly into the recessed parts of the arm. After that, I used a high-speed reel to put a bit of load on it during retrieval, and the noise significantly improved. It seems like the line roller was indeed the cause. Well then, I'll do another review later on. I will do another review. This time, it's the O.S.P Dunk 48 SP, a suspending jerk shad. It has a great swim style, but it tends to break down quickly, so I think it's best used in areas with weak current, where you can use its strong vibrations to attract fish. Yeah, the noise has significantly improved. Of course, it's not completely gone, but it's now at a level where I can use it without stress. Using it like this, I can really feel how light it is. The retrieve is smooth, and I can clearly feel the lure's movement. To be honest, I only briefly used the 2020 Vanford when I borrowed it from a friend, but personally, I don't feel much of a difference in terms of usability. It's light, easy to cast, pairs well with light rods and has good sensitivity. As for the torque during retrieve, I feel like it's slightly improved. It seems stronger, but not dramatically so. Actually, someone who disassembled the reel mentioned this, and I was among those who believed the claim that the retrieve power increased because of the infinity drive. But apparently, a similar mechanism had already been present in the 2020 model. However, if the new model feels more powerful, why is that? Upon investigation, it turns out that the gears are slightly larger in diameter than the previous model. Plus, the benefits of Infinity X-ROS might be contributing to this smoothness and strength. Next up is the soft plastic. The jig head is 1/6 of an ounce. The lure is also from DAISO. It's amazing that you can get this for just 100 yen. Yeah, I can really feel the bottom. Of course, I'm using a sensitive rod with a metal tip this time, so that's a big factor. However, if your tackle balance is off, the rod sensitivity drops as well. If the reel is noisy or has strong inertia while retrieving, the sensitivity also decreases. In that sense, I think the overall sensitivity of the Vanford is quite good. This time, I'm using a slightly unique lure setup called the Shore Rubber Rig. It's similar to the offshore Thai rubber fishing method I introduced earlier, but done from shore with casting. The casting feels really smooth with the Vanford. The line releases easily without any resistance. The spot I'm fishing has some current, and the first meter near the shore is rocky, which makes it a bit challenging, but the Vanford handles it well. The overall lightweight of the tackle makes it easy to maneuver, especially when doing subtle actions that require less movement. The lightweight, balance, and smoothness of the reel really help here, especially with keeping the lure from moving too much. It also prevents unnecessary line movement. I've heard that some people say the 2024 Vanford has a larger gear and wider teeth compared to the 2020 model, which might affect sensitivity. But from my experience so far, I don't feel like it's lost any sensitivity. Compared to the Luvias, I don't notice any clear differences at this point. Maybe if I switch between them more, I might feel something, but for now, it doesn't seem to be an issue. The final part of this review is for the Issei Shizumi Mushi, a soft plastic made from high-density material with added salt, which allows it to sink without a sinker. I'm testing it with a no-sinker, offset hook setup. Since this ultra-lightweight rig weighs just 1/64 ounce with PE 0.8 line, the casting distance is limited, but it still works fine. Using such a light rig can be tough if the rod isn't designed for it, and I wouldn't even consider using it with something like the Twin Power. But with the Vanford, it's no problem. Of course, I mainly watch the line to check when the lure hits the bottom, as it's too light to really feel much through the reel. But I can still get a sense of when the lure moves from a current into a calm area, which is pretty impressive. At the very least, I don't think the Vanford lags behind the Luvias in terms of sensitivity. Actually, I did hook a fish around this point, but unfortunately, my GoPro overheated and froze, so the fish got away, and I couldn't capture any footage or photos. From the brief fight I experienced, the drag seems slightly smoother compared to the previous model. With the older Vanford, the drag wouldn't start smoothly unless I applied quite a bit of force. This would lead me to loosen the drag more than necessary, which then caused it to let out too much line when it finally kicked in, making me scramble to tighten it back up. It seems like that issue has been reduced. Even when working with an edgy lure, the line was released smoothly. However, when it comes to the smoothness of the drag at the very start, I think it still falls short of DAIWA's ATD. For those who focus on super finesse fishing, especially with ester lines, it might still feel lacking. Conclusion. The SHIMANO Vanford 2024 might feel like a minor upgrade compared to its predecessor. In this review, I started with a negative impression due to an initial problem, But without that issue, I feel that the Vanford 2024 is a high-quality reel. Like the MGL series, it's lightweight and highly responsive. When it comes to power while reeling, whether spooling line or retrieving lures with some resistance, it feels a little stronger, but not significantly. However, even with some load, the smoothness of the gears doesn't suffer, and it feels more stable than the previous model. It fulfills its role as a lightweight reel perfectly, and I think it's a reel without any complaints. I'm especially happy that there isn't much of a price difference from the previous model. Compared to the older version, the light reeling remains the same, but the overall feel has improved. It's more stable, a bit stronger, and the drag system is slightly better. The new color design also looks cool. Overall, it feels like an evolution rather than a major upgrade, more like a minor update. So, if you already have the 2020 model and are happy with it, you might not need to rush to upgrade. But if you're just starting to build your gear, the Vanford offers excellent quality that should last a long time. If your budget allows, a good setup would be using the larger size Stratic for heavy-duty use and the smaller Vanford for lighter tasks. VS DAIWA Luvias 2024. In terms of comparing the Vanford and Luvias, we plan to do a thorough comparison later. Right now, I'm honestly unsure which one is better because I don't notice a significant difference in their basic performance. The Vanford has a slightly better feel in terms of reel smoothness, but when considering the noise during rotation, they seem similar. Both reels have comparable casting ease and sensitivity. The Vanford is a bit better for casting feel, while the Luvias has superior drag performance. Overall, I currently prefer the balance of the Luvias, but it's about $90 more expensive. Considering the price difference, I think the Vanford might be sufficient, making the comparison quite even when factoring in cost. With DAIWA reels becoming more expensive, the Caldea 2025, which will likely be released next year, might end up in the Vanford's price range. However, the Vanford is still superior to the Caldea 2021, even considering the difference in drag performance. I'm also interested in potentially transferring the ATD drag washer to the Vanford spare spool if it becomes available. Both the Luvias and Vanford can have additional bearings added to their drag systems. After a thorough comparison of the two models, I plan to try these upgrades and evaluate their performance. How was that? I hope this video helps you in choosing your fishing gear. As a token of our appreciation for your continued support, including from those who visit our webshop, we are planning a small campaign. As the end of the year approaches, we will announce the details on this channel, so please stay tuned. If you have any requests for reviews of specific gear, please let us know in the comments. Although we focus on JDM fishing tackle, we will consider your suggestions for future videos. Thank you for watching.